Okay, thank you. I call to order the May 19th, 2025 regular meeting of the Whittier City Council at 7:22 PM. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Before we begin tonight's meeting, please note that digital copies of the packet are available on our website. A QR code is provided just outside council chamber's door or in the top left corner of the YouTube video. Open your phone's camera to scan the code and access the packet. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Mr. Shen.
Here.
Mr. Wagner.
Here.
Mr. McAlto.
Here.
Mr. Pinkush. Absent. Mr. Denmark.
Here.
Mr. Dickinson. Absent. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor? He'll probably be back. I would
Yeah, he will
expect.
probably be back.
Yeah, I know he's got some issues at home to deal with. Okay,
Even without Mr. Blair's presence, you do still have a quorum.
very good.
And
Is there a
then-
motion and a second to excuse Dave Dickinson and Dave Pinkush from tonight's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion has been made and seconded to excuse Councilors Dickinson and Pinkush from tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Voting on the motion to excuse Dave Dickinson and David Pinkush from tonight's meeting. Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. McAlto.
Yes.
Mr. Shen.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor. Just checking. Mr. Denmark.
Yes.
The motion passes, and Dave Dickinson and David Pinkush are excused from tonight's meeting.
Okay, next on the agenda is citizens' comments. Citizen comments on any agenda item except those scheduled for public hearing are welcome at this time. Those who have signed in will be given the first opportunity to speak. Please note, this is not a time for dialogue. It is time for you to speak and the council to listen. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed in for citizens' comments?
First on the list is Mr. Goldstein for agenda item number 7. Mr. Goldstein, would you like to come up to the podium to speak?
Thank you, Madam Clerk, Mr. Vice Mayor, Council. I just wanted to take a few minutes to just encourage you to vote for this resolution that supports the construction of the cell tower in the Portage Valley. Back in the late 1990s, I had the privilege to make a video for the Forest Service with a guy named Don Wardley, and he happened to be the pilot, one of the pilots who was involved in the search for Begich bugs and their plane years ago, and was a highly esteemed pilot. We did a segment on Portage Valley weather and the impacts to pilots and people who recreate and use the facilities there in the valley. At that point, it became pretty clear that in real life, there are a lot of threats over there, and there are no real ways to get information out or to warn people about the dangers other than you happen to see something in the paper about ice cracking up or people kayaking in Portage Creek and dying. So it stuck in my mind. And then one winter years ago, one of the individuals who lived in Whittier had some of their family come over and visit. And this happened to be on a cold winter night when winds were blowing out of the staging area. And they came up in their vehicle after tunnel hours. Apparently, they weren't aware that the tunnel shut down at 10:30. And they realized that nobody is here to let us through the tunnel. They tried to start their car. They couldn't start their car. They had some kids in there, and I think there were 2 adults. And that's when this crystallized into the fact that we really need to have some kind of emergency contact. I would hope that some of the people at the tunnel had video cameras and they were monitoring the site, or maybe the railroad was, and they were able to respond and get these people through. But it's just a real serious threat. I think we've had 2 recent breakups of ice in the wintertime due to calving of the glacier. We also had some people killed in the Byron Glacier area with one of the caves, ice caves collapsing on them. We've had people die in Portage Creek, and we've had accidents on the Portage Road without any means of communicating to people who can render assistance. So this cell tower has been thought of for over 5 years now. It ran into some initial problems with the Forest Service. Those problems were overcome, and now it's before the Municipality of Anchorage, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and this will take place on June 2nd at 6:30. Probably going to be a long meeting, but the more facts or the more support we can get for that, the better chances that it'll pass very smoothly. After that happens, it should be in very short order, the opportunity to actually construct and complete construction this summer, so that this winter we actually will have communications finally available in the Portage Valley. A lot of benefits for Whittier, a lot of benefits for people in the Portage Valley, and in my view, it's something that's long overdue. So I would encourage you to support that and to vote yes. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Madam Clerk, are there anybody else signed in?
No one else is signed in.
Is there anyone present who would like to speak on an agenda item at this time? All right, if not, is there a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda and consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda and consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Voting on the motion to approve tonight's agenda and consent agenda, Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. McAlto,
Yes.
Mr. Shen.
Yes.
I believe this is Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Excellent. Thank you. And we can hear you. I am actually about to ask you for your vote on the motion to approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
Okay. Ask away.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Denmark.
Yes.
The motion passes and tonight's agenda and consent agenda are approved. On tonight's consent agenda are Resolution 2025-021 expressing support for the conditional use permit application submitted by Verizon Wireless to the Anchorage Planning and Zoning Commission for a Type 1 monopole telecommunications tower in Portage Valley, project number 2025-0067 Portage Lake Site. Next is Resolution 2025-022, authorizing the city manager to sign the Whittier Tourism Best Management Practices Statement of Agreement and to support the Whittier TBMPs. Approval of the April 15th, 2025 regular meeting minutes and approval of the April 29th, 2025 special meeting minutes.
At this time, does anyone wish to declare a substantial financial interest in a matter appearing on the agenda? Hearing none, next agenda item is presentations and reports, and there are none. Mr. Mayor, would you like to give a report?
No, thanks.
City Manager, would you like to give your report?
Vice Mayor, I'll just give a brief report. As you know, myself, the Assistant City Manager, and Councilmember Shen just got back from DC. We've given an update in the CMR and plan on giving you future updates as things are moving along. You've also, as a laydown tonight, received your report from your federal lobbyist, Sebastian O'Kelly. I do want to point out that we have applied for a $20,000 Advanced Economic Mobility Rapid Grant, and myself and Addison were able to go and meet with the National League of Cities while we were in DC. We did that our first day. It was really great to find out that they have some major programs that help youth get into working into cities. So we're going to work with them a little bit on trying to figure out how to get some of our youth back to DC in March of next year. So they do a week-long sort of symposium teaching them everything there is to do in cities, whether they're small or large, and how you can look at careers in that. So it was really great to get to meet them. And then on other news, railroad news, we did have House Bill 216 introduced by Representative Kai Holland, and we had Senate Bill 191 introduced by Kathy Giesel, and we'll talk more about that later this evening. And besides that, I don't know if there's anybody, if Chris has anything that she would like to add, or anybody has anything as far as our directors.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Any questions for as a function of the city manager's report from the council? Dan, Tom?
Negative.
In which case, I do have a question for the public safety director who isn't here. I'll try it again in council discussion. No, he's on the phone. I can hear him from here. All right. Okay, city attorney, would you like to give a report?
I can just note that you guys have our quarterly report in your agenda packet tonight. And so that covers the first 3 months of 2025. And you might want to note the priorities we have listed at the end. And please make sure you let us know if any of those are not priorities or not things that you're still pursuing. We just put in there what we're working on and what we understand to be kind of next projects coming up. So if you want things added or subtracted, let us know. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to public hearings. For starters, we have ordinance 2025-002, an ordinance amending Whittier Municipal Code 2.08.330A to authorize the introduction of resolutions by the city manager, mayor, or two council members. I am opening public hearing for ordinance 2025-002 at 7:35. Madam Clerk, has anyone signed in to speak at this time?
Mr. Vice Mayor, there's no one signed in at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who would like to speak at this time on ordinance 2025-002? Okay, if there is no public comment, the public hearing for ordinance 2025-002 is closed at 7:26. Is there a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2025-002?
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 2025-002. Is there a staff report?
Vice Mayor, I'll let the mayor give the staff report since he is the sponsor of this bill or this ordinance.
So, I guess this just codifies what my understanding of how a resolution is to be introduced by council members. I think for a decade, essentially what I'm putting forward right now is how we operated. But when we got down to reading the fine print, it just wasn't there. So the intent here is to codify what we had been doing for the longest time. And that would, hopefully, the intent is to improve council's understanding and administration's understanding of how council members can bring forward resolutions in a timely manner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry? Oh. If there's no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Voting on the motion to adopt ordinance 2025-002, an ordinance amending Whittier Municipal Code 2.08.330A to authorize introduction of resolutions by the city manager, mayor, or two council members. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. McCulto,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Denmark.
Yes.
The motion passes and ordinance 2025-002 is adopted.
Both of our resolutions have been approved under the consent agenda. Would you like them read out, Madam Clerk? Okay. And all other new business, which were the meetings of the last regular and special meeting, were also approved under the consent agenda, which takes us already to council comments. And would any counselor choose to make a comment? Okay, I did have a question under the city manager's reports for our public safety director. At today's meeting for tsunami readiness, I was not there, but I have spoken to a couple who were, and there was some concerns were expressed regarding communications in a natural disaster, mostly as being discussed under the framework of a tsunami in Whittier. And one of them is the lack of AM or FM radio in Whittier for public announcements or updates. And my first question is, we lost Radio Free Valdez that used to be 93 point something FM channel. And I know you've explained it to us before, Andre. Why did we dropped a receiver or something?
I believe that was during the time during our previous harbor master. Oh. Can you hear me? I believe that was time during our previous harbor master where equipment went down that wasn't under our budget to fund. Right now, we do have AM radio in Whittier. AM radio is available all the way. When you lose FM radio leaving Anchorage, AM radio is on all the way even in Whittier. I believe it's 640 or 540 AM. It's the talk channel basically, but it is available in Whittier.
Okay, and could they be counted on for PSAs for the Western Sound? Would they be assessed and are they aware they're broadcasting to Whittier?
I believe they're aware they're broadcasting anywhere outside Anchorage. There's no AM or FM channels you could pick up. We could put them on we already have that frequency, that radio channel on our SCRP program, Small Community Emergency Response Program, because they asked for radios in the area. So that's the radio stuff. We did have a disaster. What I'm guessing is all radio stations would probably be posting various things on different sites for types of disaster. But Whittier does have access to AM frequency, which is the local AM channel out of Anchorage.
Okay. Is it, would it be reasonable to ask that those particular frequencies be made aware that that's all we got? And that we would be counting on them to report any incoming news for us?
What I could do is get a hold of the radio itself and advise them, you're the only radio that's available in Whittier. If we do have a natural emergency or statewide emergency, if they could please ensure that that's shared amongst their listening audience, which I believe is pretty much anywhere Bird, Moose Pass, all those areas probably get those AM channels as well.
That would be great. And I've been living here for going on 25 years, and I'm totally unaware that we do have AM radio channels available to us. Might there be a way to post that is available to the local populace?
I will go ahead and put on next thing and get with Shelby, maybe put that on social media. But yeah, we do have, that's the only radio I can listen to in Whittier is that AM channel, as well as on Portage Highway. Anything past Girdwood, that's probably the only one you're going to get unless you have FM satellite and stuff like that.
Right. Thank you. Any other comments? Victor?
Yeah, I want to make, I guess, a little synopsis on our trip to DC. I know the city manager made some comments earlier, but I would like to share my experience and what we did is we visited all the offices of our Alaska delegation, Sullivan, Markowski, Begich. Went to their offices, talked with their staffers, told them about our situation or not our situation, but challenges and stuff that we face here in Whittier, and asking them for their continued support. We visited offices from the Forest Service, the Army Corps, the DOD. Forgive me, I don't remember them all because we went to a lot. I don't need a list, but and again, the city manager and the assistant city manager did an excellent job of conveying what our current condition and situation that we're in to all these agencies, and the importance of their continued support, and also making sure that we aren't forgotten. Our lobbyist, his name is Sebastian O'Kelly, it was very eye-opening to see how knowledgeable and up-to-date he is on all of our projects and stuff. And it was they packed a lot of meetings into 3 days. You would go into an office and we had 20, 30 minutes to get it all across the whole the pitch across to them. And Mr. Sebastian O'Kelly got all these meetings set up for us. We met a lot of people and agencies that play big roles in this community that we don't see. So, yeah, thank you for the trip, and thank you for all the work that you do. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, thank you for representing the city where it's way too hot for some of us. Okay. Renner, do you have anything this evening? Mr. Wagner, anything this evening?
No, I don't.
Mr. Mayor?
Not at this, no.
Well, that being the case, that takes us to citizens' discussion. Clerk is checking for sign-ins.
Yes, we have Mr. Samuel Schilling signed in.
Okay.
Please come on up to the podium.
Okay, and time is limited to 5 minutes per speaker on any subject over which the commission has control. And again, this is not a time for dialogue, rather it is a time to allow citizens to speak and the council to listen.
Well, good afternoon, you guys. I come down here just because I want to try to initiate another step into helping you guys, is that I've tried reaching out. And I would like to take the next step of trying to figure out what kind of grants and programs we can put in for as a nonprofit to help you guys with your trail systems. I've been reaching out, and I don't really know what the formal plan is of what you guys would like to accomplish, but there are programs out there that we can apply for, and we want to present it to you guys that we are trying to have those conversations with you. So I've sent out emails, so whenever you guys want to respond, we'd like to take that next step. Jackie, I really appreciate you calling me up, and so we can go over some items to get clarity on a lot of stuff. I think it was really good. I felt that it went in a good move, good direction, and really opened everything up to we were understanding each other. So I really appreciate that. But I would like to do our part and contribute in as best as we can as a nonprofit for you guys. So that's all I came down here to say, to clear the air up a little bit better for everybody. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Okay. Any others signed in, Madam Clerk?
No one else is
Are
signed
there
in.
any present who would like to share? Okay. None heard. Any response from council or administration? Victor?
Mr. Schilling, I have a question, I guess, or maybe a statement. I guess I would like, you came to our last meeting last month and came forward with, open arms, with the impression of like wanting to work together here. And, on social media and in other circles, a letter was released, whether I don't know the whole story behind it, but a letter that it was not so friendly. And that was something that was a little upsetting for me, because you came forth and you made a really friendly, positive statement there. And then we received this letter. Well, actually a little bit before you made this statement. Is there, I was wondering if we wanted to just, what has come of that letter? I guess, what was the intention there?
Yes, you can come up.
Yeah, you can
if you
come
would
up.
come back up to the podium, just so that everyone online can hear you as well. I just want to warn everyone not to, just remember this isn't necessarily a discussion. Questions are totally appropriate, but
Thank you.
please try to prevent getting into a back and forth, and all comments are directed through the vice mayor.
Okay, so just a little bit of clarity on it is that we've been fighting a lot of these issues statewide with closure, where people don't communicate with us. That's why you saw us down here that day of the closure. We were evaluating everything, and it came on our radar. And as a precaution, because a lot of people don't take us seriously, or they don't want to, or they try to dismiss us, and our intentions come down, even though conversations were good, it felt like we were getting brushed aside, which is a very common thing that we hit across statewide. And it's difficult to manage, and then it's usually past the point of no return for us. So we put that in. As I said, I did not send it directly to the state. It was a precautionary in case things needed to escalate. However, it did get sent out regardless of what the consensus was. It was not meant to be detrimental to you. It was supposed to be a precaution in case things had to turn that way, is that we believe that this area is in question. But I believe that things are starting to recover from it. When we want to move in the right directions, we want to open those dialogues, but we don't want to be brushed aside. So I understand that, what was sent out a couple weeks ago, and then we're having these conversations now that, we want to try to rebuild it. We're not against rebuilding and trying to work with each other, but there's a lot of organizations like myself that we represent for the Eastern Kenai Peninsula that nobody reached out to us. And a lot of us sometimes don't monitor social media that much. I know for a fact I'm not on Snow Shredders, so I can't monitor what things or discussions are going on. And we're a nonprofit, so Facebook social media group is not a nonprofit, and they're not obligated to help out in communities. They have no guidance for it. They have no bylaws. They have no structure that is supposed to accommodate to that. It's just a bunch of random people that may or may not contribute in. And so that's where we would like to keep those discussions open so we can try to build something better. I understand we have the conflicts with the land, but we hit that fate across the statewide. So it's kind of our caution to make sure we're protecting ourselves just like you're protecting yourselves. And that's what we advocate for and try to fight for. So I'm sorry it came down to those kind of circumstances, but I would like to try to rebuild what can hopefully be rebuilt. And hopefully it's beneficial for both the city of Whittier and the motorized community. And we are against those that want to be that oddball out of our community and want to be detrimental to this process. So we want to hold them accountable if we can.
Thank you. We'll look forward to it.
Any other comments from the floor? Okay, and any other response to the previous? Hearing none. Is there a motion and a second to enter into executive session to discuss the Alaska Railroad Corporation land purchase?
I'll
Matters
make
of
that
which,
motion. Nope.
matters of which, if immediately disclosed, would tend to adversely affect the finance of the city per Whittier Municipal Code 2.08.040B1. I hear a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Voting on the motion to enter into executive session.
Mayor, before she reads that, or Vice Mayor, before she reads that in, can we also state who will be staying in the room and will stay online? If it is okay with the Vice Mayor and Mayor, the city attorney, myself, the finance director, and the assistant city manager would like to stay in the room.
Sure. Including those people.
Voting on the motion to enter into executive session to discuss the Alaska Railroad Corporation land purchase as per Whittier Municipal Code 2.08.040B1, matters that, if immediately disclosed, would tend to adversely affect the finances of the city. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. McCalto,
Yes.
Mr. Shen,
Yes.
Mr. Denmark.
Yes.
The motion passes and City Council enters into executive session at 7:54 p.m. And then for those of you who are online, this is the time that you will switch over to the Teams link for the executive session.
We are coming out of executive session. Yeah, would anybody care to make a motion at this time?
I'll make that motion. Would like to direct administration to continue ongoing effort with Alaska Railroad.
Any second? I'll second.
A motion and a second has been made to direct council to, or direct administration to continue moving forward in the negotiation as directed in executive session. Motion made by Macalto, seconded by Denmark. Are you okay with me doing roll?
You betcha.
Macalto,
Yes.
Denmark,
Yes.
Shen,
Yes.
Wagner,
Thought so.
Can you hand me my phone? I don't think I have them on. He says, oh, wait.
Now you got us.
Mr.
Huh? Hello? Yes. It doesn't seem like we're fully on there.